Ladies and gentlemen, we meet again towards Shabbat. We in Israel have Parashat Shlach Lecha, and in Chutz La'aretz you still have Parashat B'Ha'alotcha. And I'd like to give an idea that connects these two parashot together, which I think is a very powerful idea. In the beginning of Parashat Shlach Lecha, it starts talking about sending out these spies, the Meraglim, to check out the land of Israel. And the first Rashi is outstanding. First Rashi says, Shlach Lecha Anashim, you have to send out these people, these spies. Says Rashi, Lama Nismecha Parashat Meraglim LeParashat Miriam. Why do we learn about this issue of sending out the spies to check out the land of Israel immediately after the end of Parashat B'Ha'alotcha that spoke about Miriam saying Lashon Hara about Moshe Rabbeinu? Explains Rashi, the Fisha Lakta Aliskei Diba Shedibra Ba'achia, since we see that Miriam was punished for saying Lashon Hara about her brother, and these Rishaim and these evil people, these Meraglim, these spies, they heard about the story of Miriam, that she said Lashon Hara about her brother, and they didn't get the message. They didn't understand one is not allowed to say Lashon Hara. And they went ahead and they went to the land of Israel and said Lashon Hara about the land of Israel. They should have learned from Miriam. My Rav Avigdor Nebenzahl Shlita from Yeshivat HaKotel, Yeshivat Bnei Akiva HaKotel, in the Old City, told us once a very interesting question. He says, one second, logically it doesn't make sense. What does Rashi expect from the spies? He expects from them to learn from Miriam. She said Lashon Hara about her brother and was punished, so they have to learn from that. But how can they learn from that? Miriam said Lashon Hara about a Jewish person, not just a regular Jewish person. The father of all our prophets, Moshe Rabbeinu. She said Lashon Hara about Moshe Rabbeinu. What did they say Lashon Hara about? They said Lashon Hara about the land of Israel, about some stones and some trees. If it would be vice versa, if they would said Lashon, if she would have said Lashon Hara about stones and trees, so we can say Kal V'chomer, so much more so, you mustn't say Lashon Hara about a Jewish person, definitely not about the father of all our prophets, Moshe Rabbeinu. But what happened here is vice versa. So logically, what does Rashi want from us? Because vice versa doesn't work out. Because she said Lashon Hara about a Jew who was the father of all our prophets, Moshe Rabbeinu. How can we learn from that we can't say Lashon Hara about stones and about inanimate things like? Let me ask you a question. If I say I've got a rotten car, my car is terrible. Is that saying Lashon Hara about my car? Of course not, because it's inanimate. However, they said Lashon Hara about Eretz Yisrael, and it was still considered Lashon Hara. What's going on here? So the answer is very interesting, because we are looking for a way to learn. So we thought we're going to learn from a Kal V'chomer, but there's no Kal V'chomer here. It's Chomer V'Kal. It's not one is greater than the other. They're both the same, which means we're going according to the will of Hashem. Hashem's will is to choose Moshe Rabbeinu to take us out of Egypt and give us the Torah, and chose Moshe Rabbeinu to be the father of all our prophets. In the same way, HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose the land of Israel. He didn't choose any other land in the world. It's only the land of Israel that's the chosen land. It's not only the chosen people, but it's the chosen land. It's the promised land to the chosen people. And this is a very central point. The central point is, what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want? What is his will? What does he choose? He chose that we keep Shabbos on the 7th day, not on the 6th day or the 8th day. We have to respect HaKadosh Baruch Hu's choice. And his choice is the Shabbos is on the 7th day. In the same way, we have to respect HaKadosh Baruch Hu's choice of this prophet, who's Moshe Rabbeinu, and therefore you can't say Lashon Hara about Moshe Rabbeinu. In the same way, HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose the land of Israel, and because the land of Israel is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's choice, you cannot say Lashon Hara against HaKadosh Baruch Hu's choice. Reminds me that in the 10 commandments, we all know that the first 5 are between man and God, the second 5 are between man and man. But the question arises, number 5 is that you have to respect your parents. Respecting parents is between man and man. So what is it doing in the first 5? The first 5 should be between man and God. The answer is, you can choose your friends, and you can choose your neighbors, and you can choose your wife or husband. You cannot choose your parents. If we do not respect our parents, we are going against HaKadosh Baruch Hu's choice. It's like going against Shabbos, or against the land of Israel, or against anything else, which was HaKadosh Baruch Hu's choice. And therefore, respecting our parents on a deeper level is actually disrespecting HaKadosh Baruch Hu's choice, and therefore it's in the first 5, which are between man and God. In fact, the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot, in Perek Bet Mishnah Daled, tells us in the name of Rabban Gamliel, Aseh Ritzoncha Kiritzono, Kedei She'aseh Ritzono Kiritzoncha. That means we have to make our will in sync with HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will, and this way He will make His will in sync with ours. Let me explain. HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world in justice. And what is His way of justice? Midah keneged midah, which means mutual. If we do good, He does good for us. If we do bad, He does bad to us. It works mutually. So if we go according to His will, He will go according to our will. And the Mishnah continues. If batel ritzoncha mipnei ritzono, which means set aside your will for the sake of His will, so that He will set aside the will of others before your will. Everything is fair. Everything is in balance. We have to understand the name of the game is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will. And therefore in Parashat Ba'alotcha, when we talk about Lashon Hara against Moshe Rabbeinu, you can't say against Lashon Hara about Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was chosen by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will. In the same way, in Parashat Shlach Lecha, the land of Israel was chosen by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we cannot say Lashon Hara against HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will. Shabbat Shalom.